All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We have a special treat for you today. The Lodi Chamber of Commerce is going to have a little webinar, if you will.
Webinar, yeah. We got it.
Yep. We're here at Undefeated Media Studios. And I'm going to pass it over to Corey Waters. Before I do, I want you guys to realize that we are 100% live. And we want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you make a comment or ask a question, we can answer it live for you right away in real time. So enjoy the show and take it away, Corey.
Thanks, Doug. All right, guys. Welcome. Thanks for being here with us tonight. So Lodi Chamber of Commerce presents the virtual home buying seminar, or New Year, New You 2021. So my name is Corey Waters. I'm with Remax Real Estate. We have with us today Carlos Villa, the financial coach from Primerica.
Good evening, everyone.
All right, and we got Jason Wilk from Crown Home Mortgage sitting over there.
Good evening, Corey. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, thanks, guys. So we got a lot to cover for you tonight. We're not going to take too much of your time. We're going to try to be, very interactive with you, and really want your comments, your questions, so we can try to get some, live stuff going for you. But the reason that I started this out is when most people think about buying a house, they think of a real estate agent. We market it as such. We want you to think about us, but a good real estate agent has a lot of assets, and you have a lot of good partners. So we're not always the right one to start with, but we can always get you in the right direction. So that being said, the first part of this, we're going to talk to Jason Wilk. We're going to talk to him. He's going to go over how to be pre-approved and how to be pre-qualified for what you want to purchase, which is one of the biggest purchases you're going to make in your life. So you want to do it right. You want to be in the right spot to be able to be successful. So, Jason?
Thank you very much, Corey. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jason Wilk, and I work for Crown Home Mortgage. There are three aspects that I talk to all my clients about when it comes to getting a mortgage qualification. And what those three aspects are an individual's credit score, the money that they have to buy the home, and also something I'll get into in a minute, which is called your debt to income ratio. But credit is really the first thing that all the mortgage companies are going to look at. And the important thing when it goes to credit is, first off, you have to know what your credit is, and you have to go by your mortgage credit score, because there are a lot of things out there. Oh, my Credit Karma says this, or with my credit card every month, I get my credit score. Is that it? Is that gonna help me get a mortgage? Well, it may be a bit of an indicator to see how your credit is looking, but what all the mortgage companies are going to look at is something called your mortgage score. When somebody looks at their next slide, they're going to look at your mortgage score. What your mortgage score is, there are three credit reporting agencies out there. There's Experian, there's Equifax, and then there's TransUnion. And what the mortgage companies do is they disregard the highest and the lowest score, and they take the one in the middle. If you have two people on a mortgage application, such as a husband and his wife, they're going to take the lower of the two scores, and they're going to use that for your mortgage qualification. Sometimes I get this question actually very often. Well, you know what? My credit score is only 600, but I'm have my father or a different family member co-sign for me. Does his 800 credit score help? The answer in that case is going to be no, because the mortgage company is always going to go by the lesser of the two scores. And why is credit score important? Number one, it's going to be the basis for you to qualify, because you do have to have a minimum credit score to qualify. But the stronger your credit score is, the better interest rate you're going to get, and better terms you're going to get on your mortgage. Things such as points may or may not be involved. If it's a lot of people don't even know, what a point is. When somebody says they're paying 1 point to get a loan, that's 1% the size of the loan as an additional closing cost. Like, for example, 1 point of a $300,000 loan is $3,000. So it's very important, as I said, to know where you stand when it comes to your credit score, know what your mortgage score is, and know that the impact that good credit is going to have on your mortgage qualification. Next slide. Okay, so once we look at credit, something else we're always going to look at is something called your cash to close. Basically, the money that you're going to need to basically buy that home. The first thing that we look at is your down payment. Some people say they can make a 20% down payment on the property. Other times people need to make a smaller down payment, where down payments of say 3% or 5%, depending on the loan program, are available to you. Besides down payment, there's a second area of costs that people have to pay when they're getting the mortgage. It's somebody's closing costs and also their prepaids. I also call that the cost of the transaction. Closing costs are things like the bank fee that the bank or the mortgage company is going to charge to do your application. Title work needs to be done when you purchase the home. In the state of New Jersey, a lawyer needs to represent you. There are other miscellaneous expenses associated with the transaction. What are prepaids? Prepaids are your property taxes that have to be paid and your escrow accounts being set up, and also your homeowner's insurance that needs to be paid for the first year and also established in an escrow. When I talk to my clients individually, what I do is, I go over this in a great detail and really break it down to how those numbers work towards you. But my one point here is, whenever you do purchase the home, you have to worry about your down payment and also the closing costs and the cost of the transaction. Final slide. And really, and another final thing. Okay, we have your credit. We take a look at your credit. We take a look at the money that you need to buy the house. The third and final area that we're going to look at is something called your debt to income ratio. What that is basically going to be is your income, which is basically the money you make, through your job, through Social Security if you're retired. They're going to look at all the money's coming in. They're then going to compare that to what your future mortgage payment is going to be, and they're also going to take into account the other debts you may have, things such as your car loan. They're going to take into account maybe student loans you have, credit card bills, and all those numbers have to work to allow you to qualify for a mortgage. So that was really my part, and really, what I go over with everybody. As I said, we're going to look at your credit, the money you have to buy the house, and your debt to income ratio, which is the money you make versus the money you owe. Now, sometimes when people come to buy a house, sometimes people do have that in order. Other times they need a little help. They need a little bit of, say, financial coaching. That's where my colleague Carlos comes in, where he can help people prepare a budget. He can give you recommendations on how to save money. He could also show you if you are going to buy that house, how that's going to work into your budget. So let me introduce you to my colleague, Carlos Villa.
Absolutely.
Who will take over from me.
Thank you, Jason. That was a great job. Again, my name is Carlos Villa, financial coach working out of Lodi, New Jersey, right? Not exclusive, right? If you live outside of Lodi, we can help you as well. So that's exactly what I do, right? I help people basically put together their budget. What we're offering everyone today tuning in is a free financial needs analysis, which is, think about it like a GPS, right? You're going to a new destination you've never been to before, i.e. you want to buy your first home, right? You need to know what you have, right? We go over things like same thing that Jason was talking about, right? We help you figure out all the numbers, debt to income ratio. We help you put together your budget worksheet. We want to make sure that your numbers are correct, right? You don't want to reach out to a real estate agent first or a mortgage guy first if you have no idea where you stand financially. That's exactly what I'm here to do. And what we're offering is a free plan. If you could just pull up my slides real quick, please.
Real quick, before we get that going, we actually have our first question here because it's going right with what you're talking about. Nikki asks, where and how do you find your mortgage score?
Sure thing, Nikki. Whenever a mortgage company checks your credit, we look at the three main credit reporting agencies out there, which are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Through those three credit reporting agencies, we see what your true mortgage score is, and those are the entities we go to get that. That's something where after the podcast, I'd be happy to talk to you about in a little more detail, so I could show you what yours is if you like.
That was a great question, Nikki. Thank you for that question. Right. So going back to the financial coaching, next slide. Here we go. Right. If you could just bring up the next slide. Just to kind of piggyback off of what Jason had said previously, right? You want to know where your money is. You want to know that your numbers are lining up correctly, right? Because you want to determine if you can afford that house. What if it's outside of your budget, right? The last thing you want to do is find that dream home and then find out, as you're going through the process that you can't afford it, whether the taxes put you over, whether you don't have enough for the down payment, right? I want to help you guarantee that you're financially ready to purchase your home outside of what Jason's doing, because that's what he does as far as the mortgages, right? We want to make sure your credit's good, you have enough cash to close, and you have verifiable income, right? But for a lot of those people who are unsure if they can purchase their first home, or they're unsure where they stand, I can help you prepare for those tax for your finances to be able to purchase your first home. If you just pull up the next and last slide for me, please. Right. So as far as the financial coaching program goes, I'm going to give you a quick overview of some of the analysis basic sections and the information you'll receive from each. Right. First is your debt solutions. Right. I'm going to help you identify and I'm going to show you by illustrating strategies for you to pay off credit cards, loans in the quickest, most efficient manner possible with little or no additional cash outlay. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, what about credit repair? I personally don't do credit repair, but I can help you. Jason and I also have some colleagues that we work with that offer some type of credit repair program. But as far as the debt solutions, I want to help you how to do it organically, right? If you're not ready to purchase that house in 1 to 2 months, where you say, hey, you know what? I have more of a 4 to 6 month window before my finances are ready. I can help you improve your credit score through that analysis, because we're going to take a more organic approach, right? But if you're in the market to buy now, your numbers are right now, then we might go the route of the credit repair, right? And, so as far outside of the debt, right? Savings, right? We're going to talk about savings, whether that's short, midterm, and long-term goals, right? I want to be able to offer you some different scenarios and show you how much money you need to set aside for that first home, for that second property. Recently, during the pandemic, I have a client, her and her husband owned their first home. Okay. So through that analysis, I was able to show them, hey, you know what? You can actually afford that second home, right? But without going and doing that complementary analysis, they would have never found out. Right. And they were really scared. But after showing them their money, right, showing them the numbers were right, showing them, well, hey, that second property is going to be a 2-family, right? Well, let's hypothetically say you're making X amount extra per month. You're going to do fine, right? Also, income protection, right? We want to help our clients properly protect that their income, right? You're now purchasing a home. Wouldn't it make sense to protect that income, right? And basically through that analysis, I want to help you build your financial future, right? I'm going to help you see everything visual, put everything together, all the numbers, so it makes sense, right? And that's what I'm here to offer. I'm glad that I was able to be a part of these professional men here. And again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. And I'm going to kick it right back to our real estate expert, Mr. Corey Waters.
No, you're not, Carlos. Hang on, man.
Yeah, we
Hang
got
on,
a lot
buddy.
of questions coming in.
We got a lot of questions, man.
They're pouring in. So let's attack some of these before
Sure
we
thing.
continue. All right, so we're gonna go in order here. We got a lot of people watching. A lot of people are loving this. So let's help them out. So Nikki did ask. We got Nikki's question. She then followed up with, "Is a mortgage score different from a credit score?"
Jason?
It's
We stumped him.
Stumped him.
basically, here's the best way I can answer it. Whenever I pull credit, I'm sorry, probably should look at the camera, guys. We check your credit score. I should have clarified that through the credit reporting agencies of Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So that is your credit score that is used for your mortgage qualification. Things. Like there are other things out there, such as Credit Karma, such as sometimes you get something with your credit card that may go to one of the 3 bureaus. That's not necessarily the score that they're going to use when they qualify you for a mortgage. I hope I answered that in a better way.
Right. That very well said.
Okay.
Awesome. We got more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tom asked, "Can you use retirement funds for a house?"
You can use retirement funds for a house as long as it's your first house. There should not be any penalties. Again, right, it depends on the type of retirement, whether it's through work, whether it's personal. But most retirement plans will allow you to take a certain amount of money without penalty for your first home that you will actually live in. I believe not for rental properties. It must be a home that you're going to move in, right? I know there's little tricks of the trade. Oh, well, you could live there for a year and then start doing some other things. That's for a different podcast. But yes, Tom, great question. You can use your money for your first home that you will be living in.
And whenever that occurs, we always recommend to ask your CPA or tax professional any implication that may have.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Next up, we have back to Nikki again. She has a debt that is in collection. Is it best to contact the company who the debt is owed to or pay the agency? What is better? What is a better path so it reflects more positively on your credit report?
Great question.
That is a great question. The honest answer is when it gets that in depth, I work with credit repair individuals, and I refer people out when it comes to things of that nature. Because I'm not a credit repair expert, but thankfully I work with some great people who are.
Right. That was very well said. And again, it really depends on how soon are you going to buy that home, right? If you're ready, numbers are good, right? Credit repair is a great option to go. However, if you maybe don't know where you stand, maybe you're a little bit far away from getting your numbers right to purchase that first home, then I would say, Nikki, you know what? Reach out to me. Let's do that free financial analysis and let's see where you stand, right? And then we can kind of consult it from there. Whether we go a more organic route where I show you how to pay that debt off, right? Whether I'm helping you make the phone call directly to the company or we refer it out to one of the credit repair guys, we would have to take a look at what kind of debt you have first before, making any type of assumptions.
Or a better way to answer Nikki's question, there are simple ways that people boost their credit score. The most common ways that people have lower credit is when they owe too much money on credit cards. I've seen a number of customers where they have 3 credit cards, and between those 3 credit cards, they have a total available credit limit of, say, $800 or $1,000 because they have those small credit cards. Now, they use those credit cards every month, and they get it close to the limit, and they pay the bill when it comes in. When you have such small amounts of available credit and you're using almost all of it, or you have a high credit utilization, that's the reason in some cases why the credit score, is so low. That's a simple fix, which someone like myself could probably tell you, hey, if you just do this, your credit should go up in the next 30 days or so. When it comes to things like collections, paying off judgments, this is in default, this, that, or the other thing, that's more complex credit repair.
Right.
We're just like Carlos said, that's where we refer to one of our specialists, and he or she would work with you and you work through that, because once that is settled, obviously your credit will go up.
Man, listen to that. You guys are killing it over here.
Yeah, a lot of great questions, and we want you guys to keep them coming because
Yes,
it's
please
great.
do.
It's great stuff. And now a little transition. We have another question. This one's for Corey, and he's going to take it away. So we'll kind of lead him into his section right here. We have a question.
What do you got?
For
What do
Corey.
you got?
It's from Jose, and it says, "Hey Corey, it's Yesenia Flores and Jose."
Yesenia.
Yesenia Flores and Jose.
Part of the chamber.
We are looking to buy a business home after the holidays. Can you all talk about when to buy business/personal loans? Thank you.
Wow. That is a loaded, tough question because I can't predict the future, Yesenia. So I'm going to try to answer that as best as I can with some of the material that I'm going to give you. So anybody who has been looking at the real estate market in 2020, I mean, it basically blew your mind, right? So there has been a historically low amount of inventory. There have been an immense amount of buyers, a lot of what we call decentralization. So they're coming from a lot of urban areas and coming into the suburbs. Hello, Bergen County. And I wanted to just give you a quick recap just to show you what 2020 looked like. I got that slide if you could. So Jason, so that's me, I guess. So there we go.
Got
All right,
that $1 million smile, bud.
Yeah, buddy. I like that. All right. So year-to-date summary for 2020. So Jason is the mortgage guy, but looking at the mortgages and the mortgage rates, one of the reasons why there's so many buyers in the field right now is because the mortgages are super low, right, Jason?
That's correct.
I mean, nationwide average 2.82%. That is historically low. I mean, they were talking like in 2018, it was 4.5%. And they were saying that is historic lows. Now they're down even further. And it's going to be staying like that for a couple of years. We'll get to that in a second. So that's creating a lot of buyers in the market. And there's not a lot of inventory with a built up a built up, pent up energy for people who want the homes, but there's just not enough people who are looking to sell them. So that led to multiple offer situations. And I'm sure if anybody has been in the market, tried to get a home, got a home, was in a multiple offer situation. So you only have one home, you have 20 buyers that want it. They're all pre-approved. They all went through Jason and Carlos. But that's where a lot of people did lose out this year because there's just not enough houses on the market. So new homes on the market. Yeah.
Just do me a favor. I know we are live. This is what's going to happen right now. Just go a little lower for me. Can you lower your seat a little bit?
Lower my seat.
Yeah. I don't want your head to get cut off. There you go.
Oh no, I'm like
beautiful you are.
Man. I feel so short.
That's what happens when you're live.
It's all right, buddy. Okay, so we're kind of getting to that. New homes on the market in 2020 were down 4.2%. That's a lot of homes. There's a lot of people who didn't list their home for a variety of reasons. They didn't want to leave their home. During the pandemic, they didn't want to let anybody in their home to walk through to see it. So a lot of people were kind of pulling back. They're like, I don't know what's going to happen. It's an election year. We got a pandemic going on. I don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to sit and wait it out. So that being said, sold homes were still almost flat for the year. Sold homes being flat for the year during a pandemic is pretty crazy because we lost, 4 months?
Easily.
4 months out of the selling season, we're still flat to 2019. So an exorbitant demand for them. Average sale home price up 11%. That's where it starts to get very, very difficult for buyers, especially first-time home buyers in this market have found it very difficult because, as your parents probably taught you or how you've seen in the market over time, there was a list price, and the list price was typically where you started, and then you could negotiate it down. In 2020, that flipped its script, and it went from this is the list price to, okay, how much are you going to pay over that? So it's a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. There's a lot of people that did close on homes this year, but it was extremely difficult to do. Average days on the market, stuff was flying, 6% change. So I think the average was 49 days from the time that it was on the market till it was closed versus like 67 the past year, something crazy. It's just nuts. So the next slide kind of goes into what we were talking about with interest rates, right? Yeah. Okay. So they're expecting to maintain 0 to 0.25% target rate for the federal funds rate through 2023. So what does that mean? That means that these record low interest rates are going to be sticking around for many, many years to come, and it's going to continue to drive the housing market through 2021 and beyond. So the projected price. So I'm kind of get into a little bit of 2021 now and what it's supposed to look like. Now, there's a lot of sources that you can go for this. There's Lawrence Yun is a big one. He's on the NAR chief economist. There's a lot of other ones that we put on here. This one is from I think it was Home Advisor, Realtor. They all have their own metrics to look at it. But so looking at a projection on home prices, right? So even if you throw out Zillow, which is the top one, and CoreLogic, which is the bottom one, you're still thinking that home prices are going to go up another 3 to 4% this year. So again, it's a shift in mentality for what you're anticipating and what you're prepping yourself to do getting into the market. And one of the biggest questions that I got and one of the biggest discussions that I've had with a lot of my investors and otherwise is, okay, so there was 2007, right? 2007 happened. Subprime lending led to all these homes that people were underwater on. They couldn't afford it. Banks were qualifying them, but they couldn't afford it. And we went into a foreclosure crisis in 2008 and 2009, right? That was a bad time for a lot of people, including myself. I lost my home. It happens. But right now, 2020 is not like the 2007 recession. We don't have subprime lending. We don't have people who are, most people have enough equity in their home to be able to tap into it to use for reserves. So the likelihood of us having a foreclosure again is about 0%. And Zelman and Associates is a research facility in New York State, New York City, actually, that came up with this. So if you're thinking that everything's going to crash and the foreclosure is going to be out there, it's not going to happen. So that being said, let's talk about a couple things. Now, we've already covered some of these as far as what the keys to home buying are going forward and what you need to know. All right. So first off, obviously, real estate agent, that's me. I can hook you up with Jason. I can hook you up with Carlos. I can hook you up with everybody and partners. I have trusted partners that I work with because part of my job is to not only find you a home, but to help that seamless transition throughout. So making sure that you have a qualified real estate agent ready to go, that works hard for you, is the way to go. Now, if you're buying a home, just to let you know, buyer's agents, they don't get paid until you close. So you have to find an agent that is dedicated enough to be able to work with you from all the way from the beginning to the end, anywhere from 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, whatever it takes. They're not getting paid the whole time. You better find somebody who's really going to help you and represent you and not just kind of push you off and hope for the best. All right. So you need a good real estate agent to help you. You need your pre-approval, which we already talked about. The down payment, we already talked about. Closing costs, we already talked about. Those are the structures so that you know what you're going to be able to afford. All right. So steps to buying a home. We kind of touched on a couple of these. So I'm just going to go through this quick. Saving for your down payment, knowing your credit score, talking to Carlos, talking to Jason, making sure they're all ready to go. Finding a real estate agent, me. Getting pre-approved. Obviously, back to Jason. There's going to be a lot of back and forth here. Finding a home, making sure that you know what areas you're looking for, what your budget is, and what you're comfortable with spending. This is going to be one of the biggest investments you're ever going to make. You have to be comfortable with it day to day, month to month when you're paying for it. So making an offer, having a home inspection, getting a home appraisal, closing on the sale, and closed, owning a home, right? That's what we're trying to get you to, and what all three of us together can help you do as a whole system going through here, right? So next. So predictions for 2021. So new year, new you, right? So you want to buy a house. Maybe you tried last year. There's a lot of people that I worked with since March, April, May of last year. We found them homes. We found them multiple homes. They just didn't get the homes for one reason or another. It's going to happen. The average home buyer loses 3 homes before they get to the one that they're going to put on. So they go through the whole process. They put the offers in. They go through the pre-approval process. They put the offer in. That might even get accepted. But statistics show that the first 3 homes you put in, you're not going to get. It's an unfortunate reality, but we're going to kind of talk in my next slide about what expectation is set. Jason, you had something?
I mean, just like Corey said, I mean, I have people who are pre-approved for a mortgage who are putting offers in on homes. They think their offer is accepted. They're in a bidding war. I've had pre-approved people for over 6 months, some actually close to a year. I've had people on credit repair plans or savings plans for 6 or 12 months. I mean, it's a process. If on January 1st of 2020 you couldn't buy a home, it was no then. It doesn't mean no forever. Maybe 2021 is your year. Maybe there's still a little more work that needs to be done, meaning saving money or credit repair, or you're just not there yet. The point is, it's a process towards home ownership. And once you're there, people like Corey, people like Carlos, people like myself guide you through the entire process.
Right. That's what we're here for. So getting back to this, so we have a really high demand, and a lot of it, honestly, for the suburbs is coming from New York City.
Right.
It's coming from Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, because I mean, I think of it. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to be quarantined. People were quarantined for 3-4 months in a 1-bedroom apartment,
Right.
in a high rise. I can't. More power. God bless them, because I couldn't do it. If you had to, you got to do it.
Right.
But they don't want to, and then the second that they don't have to anymore, they get out.
Correct.
So that's why we're seeing a lot of the decentralization. But a lot of that is okay. So they want outdoor space. That's a huge thing. That's, pushing people out further. There's actually numbers around people who are now telecommuting or working from home. That's becoming a huge thing. So people want more space. They want bigger homes. They want to be able to spread out. If there's going to be 2 people working from home and 2 kids homeschooling, they don't want them to be all on top of one another. Actually, people have talked about the open concept home, which has been the huge thing for years and years. That's going away.
Yeah.
They're actually making more rooms so that people can have their own rooms for their own things. It's pretty crazy how the shift works out. So we're still going to have record low inventory, because there's still going to be, maybe some people have taken what they've seen this year, and then when it comes February, March, they're going to put it on the market, or next year putting it on the market. But a lot of people moved like during the summer. They didn't have the option to move during the summer this year, or they got kids in school. Well, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but my kid goes to virtual school. He did it from his grandmother's house on the other side of the state last week. Nice. So, they don't have as many constraints around where you're going to live anymore. And that's going to, continue to give low inventory numbers, because there's going to be places that people want that they can't get into. So decentralization, we talked about that. Multi-generational homes is going to be huge. in 2021. Everybody know what that means?
Please explain.
All right. Thanks, Carlos. I appreciate that layup. So basically what that is the pandemic and has really brought families back together. You want to be with the ones that you love. When you have such a small amount of people that you're going to interact with, a lot of the times you're going to look to your family. And by that, people are looking at, okay, I'm going to buy this, and they have their kids, they have the parents who are buying the house, and then they have grandparents that are coming to live with them. And they want to keep that multi-generational thing going. So they're going to be buying bigger homes. They're going to be buying 2 families. They're going to be buying mother-daughter suites. They're going to be buying those sort of homes that are marketable that way and that suit multi-generational living and having more people in one place, but not having them on top of one another.
Got a question for you.
Hey, Doug, what's up?
And I might be able to partly answer this, but Tom asks, will 2-family homes be big in the future? You can't build 2-family homes anymore, correct?
You can still build 2-family homes.
Oh, I thought only the ones that were up and only 2-family homes that were up were allowed, were grandfathered in, but I didn't think you were allowed to build any more.
So you can still do variances in certain towns to take a 1-family.
There you go.
Yeah, from a 1-family to a 2-family. As far as I know, they can still build 2-family homes. I haven't heard of. I mean, they're honest. To be honest, in Bergen County, they're.
Today, guys.
Yeah, hey, it's all right, man. You're doing your best you can. It's awesome. So a lot of 2-family homes, like they're not really building a lot of homes anymore in Bergen County, and if they are, they're huge, massive single-family homes because that's what people want.
What I see a lot of coming up are the condos and the townhouses all over the place. They're really building.
Yeah, no, they're definitely doing that, and they're catering. A lot of that is catering to the people who live in a tight-knit community, like a condo or townhouse or a co-op in urban areas that still want that feel, but don't want to be in the city anymore. I mean, if you have a job in the city and you're only commuting 2 days to the city versus 5 to the city, what benefit does it make for you to stay in a spot like Manhattan or Brooklyn, Bronx, wherever, if you don't like the community that you're in? If you can get that same community atmosphere, but you can get it in, let's say, Bergen County, then that's why a lot of that's coming up.
Correct.
Interesting. So you can build 2-family homes. Can you convert a 1-family house to a 2-family house?
Yes. You have to go through a variance through the town.
Whoever told me that was obviously wrong.
I don't know, man. I mean, everything's got to go through zoning, and everything's got to get variances. If it's a 1-family, change it to a 2-family. But as far as I know, you can still do it.
And to answer Tom, do you think they'll be big in the future?
Absolutely. 2 families are going to be huge. I actually have a client that I'm working right now that is buying a 2-family home specifically so that they can live on one level and their parents can live on the other. It's still going to be huge. People still want investment properties. Those are typically investment properties. It's actually really good for first-time home buyers if you have a little extra cash, because there's certain lending requirements on a 2-family home where you have to have a larger down payment. But if you have that, a 2-family home would be great to have, because you can have yourself living in one, and then your tenant pays part of the mortgage on the other side, and you're still doing the same sort of upkeep on the house as you would as a larger single family. So,
if not most of the mortgage, depending on the home, right? You can get a good chunk of the mortgage paid off based on the rent.
depending on how well Jason does for you with the mortgage. Yeah, absolutely.
And the good news is
Buddy.
with FHA, you could buy multifamily, 2, 3, 4 family with a 3.5%
Yeah.
down payment.
All right. So one more thing, millennials will rule the market. And
Yay, millennials.
so the reason that I'm saying that is because 56% of millennials that were not living with their parents pre-pandemic are now living with their parents pandemic, and will probably be living with them post-pandemic until they can get into something for themselves. So that is going to have a lot of pent-up energy from the millennials and the parents to get the kids out of the house. So you're going to see a huge rise in what the millennials are going to do. So trying to wrap this up here because I think we're going a little long. But so how to set yourself apart in 2021. So the biggest thing that I can tell you, educate yourself. Talk to me. Talk to Jason. Talk to Carlos. Know what your financial situation is. Know what type of house you want to buy, where you want to buy it. Talk to Jason and know how much you can afford, because that's the biggest thing is you get sticker shock. You know, hey, I can, yeah, sure. I put that in a mortgage calculator. It says I can put this much money down and I get this. And then Jason's like, let's talk about that, huh?
Well, actually, Nikki has another actually very good question.
Yeah, let's bring that up
Yeah.
for you guys. So Nikki asks, is it best to wait until one returns to the regular work pay before looking into a pre-approval, or will finances based on 2019 and beforehand suffice if looking into buying to 2021?
It is you must be currently working to qualify for a mortgage and to buy a home. If you are a W-2 employee, you have to be currently working, and your income is calculated based on your 2019 W-2, and also based on your last 30 days of pay stubs. So you could make a whole bunch of money in 2019 if you're furloughed, if you're temporarily not working at that exact moment. You are not going to qualify for a mortgage. You do have to be back to work, and you do have to be working for them to use your income. But that being said, the second part of her question, is it a good idea to talk to someone like myself now with the projections on how your qualification looks when you do get back to work? Yes, I do that with people all the time, just to know what position they will be in when they do return to working and to making the money they're used to making.
Cool. We have another question too, and guys, keep them coming. We are live, and this is great.
What do we got?
James asks, if I was looking to purchase a residential/commercial building in the next few months, should I wait longer due to the potential impact of COVID-19 pandemic had on the commercial real estate?
So commercial real estate is touchy. So I'll kind of talk to the first part of that now, which is residential commercial buildings. If you're looking for a building, you're looking for an investment property. What I tell my investors is it's always a good time to invest. There's never a bad time to invest as long as the deal is right. As long as the numbers work, then there's no reason to not go for something. They're not as volatile as, say, condos or residential single family homes. They're typically a better investment. And if you get the right investment, it's always good to get it. So the first part of that is there. So as far as the commercial real estate goes, I don't have a lot of data on that. I do a lot of residential. I don't do a lot of commercial, but from what I've heard and what I'm seeing, it might actually be better to wait because we got to see what the winter's going to bring and what the rest of the winter's going to bring and how the regulations are going to provide for businesses going forward.
Right.
It's going to be a tough atmosphere throughout 2021 for a lot of smaller businesses, mom and pop shops, things like that, just, trying to stay up and trying to stay afloat.
And with the recent pandemic, I know in my business, I do marketing and stuff. So a lot of business with the pandemic have freaked out and tried to sell online. So a lot of businesses are going to say, I don't need this storefront.
Right.
I can just do this out of my garage or something, making, supply and demand, right? Making these commercial properties be.
That's an interesting point because they were actually talking about earlier this year how a brick and mortar store is actually going to, or a brick and mortar location for a business is actually going to be a selling point for employees coming soon because everybody's working from home. At some point, not everybody's going to want to work from home. I got to get out of the house, man.
Especially if you're virtually schooling for kids.
Homeschooling,
Me personally, it's just myself and my wife. She's at work, 6, 8, 10 hours a day. I mean, if I have a bunch of work to do, I just go to my office to work because I do, from a mental point of view, I like going to an office. That's just
right. That's actually going to be a perk in the future for a lot of businesses. And as far as brick and mortar locations, they're going to look for more distribution facilities. If they're doing online sales, they're going to look for warehousing. But the actual brick and mortar storefront is going to be more boutique and going to be, is going to be tougher to keep around.
So I'm lucky I have the studio here, but I'm also lucky that I also get to work from home. And I'll tell you from experience, it's great. When the pandemic happened, whatever, working from home for like a month, like you're like, yeah, I'm working from home, but it gets old quick. And you get in the mindset. If you're home by the couch, you're like in that home mindset. When I'm here, I'm working.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
It's tough to differentiate work and home time when you're home. That's why so many people, when they're working from home and when they're looking for houses last year and going into this year, are going to be looking for office setups out and away from everything else. So that's going to be big. So a couple more things to set you apart. Build a relationship with your agent. Make sure that they know what you want. Let them know what makes you tick. And they should let you know what makes them tick, and make sure that you're a good match. Listen, there's a lot of clients. There's a lot of agents. Not every agent is going to mix well with every client, and not every client's going to mix with every agent. So make sure that you vet whoever you're going to be working with, because they're going to be taking you through a journey to get to buying a house. So make sure that your agent is proactive and that you're reactive. So with the days on the market being down as low as they are, your agent needs to be on top of his game, his or her game. They need to make sure that they have their pulse on the market. They need to know what's happening and when. And then at that point, they need to be communicative enough to you to be able to get you the information. And you need to be reactive enough to them to get on it and pounce on it. So make sure that you're vetting whoever you work with. Ask questions. Most of the people that I've been working with during the pandemic are first-time home buyers. Educating a first-time home buyer, that's the first thing that I tell them. I'm like, look, you ask me all the questions that you want, I'm going to educate you, because the more that you know, the easier and smoother this whole thing's going to go, right? So the other thing that's huge, and I talk to all of my clients about, identify a need versus a want. That's sometimes a tough conversation to have. Like, it's kind of, Carlos, you kind of got the same thing in yours, like in the in the financial realm. Well, I really do need this.
Right.
Oh, do you just want that, or do you need that? It's the same sort of thing when it comes to amenities on a house. Do you need a 3-car garage? No, you only have 2 cars. What do you need 3-car garage for? You got an attic, you got a basement. Will the storage work? You have to identify what is a want versus a need, because you need to be able to make quick decisions. When something comes on the market, you need to say, okay, let's go see it. Okay, I want to put an offer on it. Okay, agent, do your thing to work hard for me to get this done. So having those conversations and talking with each of us before you get into that process, before you go window shopping, you can go window shopping all you want. There's plenty of websites out there that'll get you all the home listings, but having that personal touch between myself, between Carlos and Jason, that's really what is going to help to set you apart and get you that house that you're looking for in 2021.
Absolutely.
So, guys, thank you so much. Do we have any other questions?
Last chance to get them in, guys. If you have questions, now is your chance. Reminding you, we are live.
We are.
And we're here to answer your questions.
Nikki, you've had some great questions, by the way. You got MVP of the night.
MVP.
And Nikki, whenever you were interested, let me and Corey know. I'd be happy to take a look at where you're at right now when it comes to a mortgage standpoint, see where your qualifications are, talk to Corey a little bit about the type of house you're looking for, because you definitely seem motivated, like you're really looking to buy in 2021.
Right. All right, guys. Doug, thank you so much for everything that you do with Doug and Undefeated Media. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the fun stuff. He does great things for business.
Yeah.
Really will elevate your business through social marketing, video, podcasting.
Full service production and marketing studio. So not only do we have the studio for podcasting, we got green screen rooms, and we help you with your social media presence. We're all in one package to help businesses.
Absolutely.
And my buddy Corey.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I don't think we have any more questions. So thank you so much for joining the Lodi Chamber of Commerce Presents New Year, New You 2021. My name is Corey Waters. I'm with RE/MAX. We got Jason.
So let me bring up those cards for you guys.
There you go. Perfect.
So we'll start off, Corey. We'll start for you right here.
Yeah, there's me.
There's Corey. So if you want to contact Corey, there's Corey's card.
There's my information. RE/MAX, #1 in the
Who
world.
should we go to next, Corey?
Let's go to Carlos. He's sitting.
We'll go to Carlos.
There he is. Carlos.
Carlos. Information.
862-215-1317.
Take a
And also
quick-
follow me on Instagram at Carlos_financial_coach.
So
Check
take a snapshot of that too. And also in the description when this is done, we'll have links for everybody as well.
There we go.
And last but not least, there we go.
There we go.
I'm old school. Just call me on my cell phone. I pretty much live next to this thing. You have Corey there going, what's your Facebook? What'd you say?
Yeah, I asked him for his Facebook. He's like, I'm like, all right, hold on. I got it. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it. This is the first one, not going to be the last one. Lodi Chamber of Commerce is going to bring you a lot of great content. These guys are going to bring you a lot of great content. Let Doug do the same for your business. And thank you guys so much. Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
All right.